Hello! From the studio in Nitro, West Virginia, this is Unreasonable Doubt. It's a podcast about West Virginia University basketball. I'm Josh Witt. Hey Siri, how many days until the month of November?
Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that?
Sure.
November starts in 180 days.
Hey Siri, how long does 180 days feel like?
Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that?
Sure.
180 days is roughly 6 months. It can feel long if you're waiting for something, but it often passes quickly when your routine is busy or full of events.
What if West Virginia is not participating in TBT in July? Does that make 180 days feel longer?
Whether West Virginia plays in TBT or not doesn't change the length of 180 days. It will still be about 6 months.
That's very logical. Thank you. Thank you, Siri. And thank you, ChatGPT. It's going to be a while. And Siri can't talk about it. Siri doesn't understand. Like, Siri doesn't know what it's like to be me or you. It's gonna feel like a long time between now in May and when West Virginia will start their 2026-2027 season in November of 2026. It's going to take a while, 180 plus days until a game that counts. And no TBT is going to make that feel, and Siri can't say, but I would argue those 180 days are going to feel like roughly 264 days. That's how much difference it is without that basketball oasis that is West Virginia hosting games in the state of West Virginia. And they're not calling it quits forever. They're just not participating in the 2026 the basketball tournament. Will I watch TBT? Maybe, maybe not. Definitely not going to be as fun without West Virginia in it. Shout out to John Flowers and the guys at West Virginia. But West Virginia is pretty much done with portal season. And Ross Hodge, who is coming back for a second season at WVU, the first guy to coach 2 seasons in a row as the head coach at WVU in years, he's pretty much got his roster. 14 of the 15 available spots are taken. And so let's just do some housekeeping. Where that guys who jumped into the transfer portal that was on the Mountaineer roster last season, where are they going to? Who's coming in from high school? Who's coming in from the transfer portal? A lot has happened. So let's get down to it. Let's talk about who has entered the portal and where did they go. DJ Thomas entered the portal. He's going back home to Texas, going to TCU. I wish DJ Thomas the best in his future endeavors. Jackson Fields reuniting with his former Troy head coach who got the job at Georgia Tech. So I wish Jackson Fields the best in his future endeavors. Morris Ugasuk, he's going to Stony Brook. That's a school that has a basketball team. Abraham Oyadir, I wish Morris the best in his future endeavors. Abe is going to UC Riverside. I think that's closer to home for him. Wish Abe the best in his future endeavors. Jaden Forsyth going to William and Mary. I believe that's in Virginia. And there's 2 first names in that college. It's been around a long, long time. So those 5 guys have their destinations. 2 guys transfer to other Power 5 schools. Once again, a Mountaineer will see play for another team in the Big 12. That feels like that happened a lot for West Virginia. And DJ Thomas is the next guy that'll do that. 2 guys stay in Power 5. 3 guys take a drop. That makes sense. That totally tracks. So we wish all those guys the best in their future endeavors. Now let's look who's coming in. Who's going to be on the year 2 Ross Hodge West Virginia Mountaineers? And let's start with the high school guys. And the word on the street, there's a lot of excitement. If you've ever listened to this podcast, I'm a low expectation, set a low bar, and jump over it. This team will not be afforded the low bar. I don't think, based on what they've done in this offseason and in their high school recruiting, the bar is higher. ESPN has set the bar at West Virginia having the 14th best high school recruiting class of 2026. 1-4. That's not a typical spot you'll find West Virginia on a list for high school recruiting for basketball. It's got to be 14th, has to be the highest. And I don't know if ESPN was doing this back when Bob Huggins came to Morgantown, but the only class I can think of that would be close to 14th is the class with KJ and Devin Ebanks and Truck Bryant. And those guys did all right. Those guys in their second season at WVU went to the Final Four. That happened. So that's the level that ESPN and the other people that are paying attention to this, I'm sure it's a different number. It's close to 14. And 3 of those guys are coming from a high school national champion, Bella Vista Prep in Arizona. And the main guy in this class, have you heard of Miles Sadler? He plays point guard. He's really good at basketball. He has a chip on his shoulder. He was on the 3 Guys Before the Game podcast, did an interview, and said he went in, didn't talk to anybody for multiple days when his name was not called as far as McDonald's All-Americans. He's coming, and he sounds like a fiery guy on the court and wanting to prove people wrong. And I do like that. I do like a deep burning fire to shock the world and to prove doubters wrong. And on top of that, he's really good at basketball. National champion at the high school level. At a great senior season. 2 other teammates with Miles Sadler's incoming, and they're both gigantic. 6'11", Aliou Dioum. And then 7'1" center, Amadou Seni. I hope I'm saying that young man's name right. He's from Senegal, and he's coming to Morgantown, and he's highly touted as far as his skill set. Apparently, he got all the rebounds in high school. He's 7'1". Seems to be very athletic. That will be a theme with year 2 of the Ross Hodge era. On paper, and when you watch clips of these guys, they seem to be very athletic. And I'm going to take that back. Can you, on paper, look athletic? Unless you've been drawn. If you are drawn to look athletic, I guess on paper you could look athletic. So strike that from the record. When you watch these guys play basketball, the athletic level seems to have taken a jump. And you see that with Sadler. You see that with as far as his speed. You see it from Seni with how gigantic he is and how he gets all the rebounds and dunks the basketball and how he's not stuck in quicksand as a 7'1" guy. He's not the fastest guy, but you don't have to be the fastest guy when you're 7'1". They also added 6'1" point guard Keontae Graybear from Texas. Apparently, he's really good at basketball. He's got great hair. And then a local guy, walk-on, 6'7", Max. Let's just call him Max. His last name starts with an O and ends with a Z. Wheeling Central. I'm going to give it a go. I'm sorry, Max. Max Olajaz. Oljas. See, I apologize. Max is coming as a walk-on. So that's the freshman class. And with love and respect to last year's high school class, this class on paper, the number is lower, 14th best. West Virginia was not deemed the 14th best high school recruiting class in 2025. Much more talented, much more highly regarded. This is improvement from year 1 to year 2 it seems that the talent level from the high school ranks that is coming in has jumped considerably. And so shout out to Ross Hodge and the coaching staff for getting these guys in and to improve. They've got to play the basketball games. The 2026-2027 season, that's what will determine how successful this part of it is. But typically, I've been paying attention to basketball for a while. If you get, and hopefully you're sitting down, I'm going to hit you with something that that may be a secret. If if you're deemed to be more talented, if people who pay attention to this agree that you have a high talent level, then that typically translates into you being really good at basketball. I know, and if you weren't prepared for that, I'm sorry if that threw off your equilibrium. That that is exciting. It should be. I am a nervous person by nature, and expectations from the 14th best high school recruiting class, that has me nervous because the last time West Virginia, let's look at Miles Sadler. We're going to talk about Miles Sadler a lot in the next 180 days. Maybe you're talking about him. I'm talking about him into this microphone. Spoiler alert. It's going to be a hot topic. Miles Sadler. And the scuttlebutt, the excitement for this guy coming to Morgantown has not been met as far as a point guard, a freshman point guard. The last guy that had this kind of excitement, because Javon Carter was great. I didn't know about him until he set foot on the floor in the Coliseum. Didn't know about this McBride until he got here. The comparable, the comparable is Jonathan Hargett. Google Jonathan Hargett. That did not turn out well for West Virginia, but that is the comparable. And Jonathan Hargett was good at basketball. It was a wrecking ball to the Gail Catlett tenure at West Virginia. But that's the only comparable I got. I mean, maybe there was some talk about Truck Bryant, but no, I don't think so. That's the comparable. Now, I am not saying that Miles Sadler is going to take a wrecking ball to the Ross Hodge era at WVU. That's all I have in my head as far as hype for an incoming freshman from the high school ranks that is a point guard. And so that works for me as far as a low bar, because the Jonathan Hargett, while very talented at basketball, that his freshman season was a nightmare for WVU. So that's the low bar that Miles Sadler has the opportunity to jump over in this upcoming season that's over 180 days away. I mean, 180 days, just see how long it takes for you to count to 180 out loud, and then multiply that by a lot. And that's how long 180 days is. Now let's look at the transfer portal commitments. And some I mentioned on the last episode, 6'10" Mo Silla. He's coming to us from Georgia Tech. He also played at Bella Vista before that. Senior 6'8" forward Javen Buchanan. He comes to West Virginia from Boise State. He needs a waiver to play his final year of eligibility. Senior 6'4" guard Finley Bizjack from Butler. Junior 6'3" guard Martin Somerville from Florida State. Senior 6'6" forward Seydou Traore. He comes to West Virginia from Utah. And the last commitment, again, West Virginia has one more open spot, but the last transfer portal commitment happened over the weekend. 6'5" junior guard Josen Sannon from St. John's. And those guys all played basketball in college last year, and now they're going to play in Morgantown. So the bar was raised in high school recruiting. How does this transfer portal class compare to Ross Hodge's first transfer portal class? I don't know. It does seem to be a different approach in that this group is younger. The first Ross Hodge transfer portal class, everybody was in their final season outside of Morris. This group, there's a junior Somerville, sophomore Silla, junior Sanon. So 3 upcoming seniors, 2 juniors, and a sophomore. So younger. Also, where West Virginia are getting the guys from. This group all come from the top 6 conferences in Division I basketball. Looking at Ken Pomeroy's computer, they come from the ACC, the Big 12, the Big East Conference, and the Mountain West. Those are all top 6 conferences in Division I basketball. Ross Hodge's first portal class, only Morris came from the top 6 conferences. The rest of the guys, and now Morris is at Stony Brook. The rest from Ross Hodge's first transfer portal class came from the 8th, 11th, 13th, 17th, and 21st ranked conferences 2 seasons ago. And that crew, plus the high school guys, won the college basketball crown. They did finish the season with a crown. But now, as far as the talent level, again, based on the strategy, these guys have all played at a higher level of competition than the year 1 Ross Hodge transfer portal class. So that doesn't necessarily translate into more wins. I'm just noticing that difference. And candidly, people see that difference as far as where the guys are coming from and names, and what is, guessed at is how much more money that costs to pay these guys. But West Virginia has done that, and there is excitement about that change in strategy. And we're going to find out in 180 plus days. Unreasonable Doubt is under the Smoking Musket umbrella. Go to smokingmusket.com. Read posts about WVU sports, daily throwdown. Check that out. Go to the Discord. We're talking about WVU sports and other stuff on the Smoking Musket Discord. Link for that is in the show notes. Listen to West by Pod, the WVU football podcast under the Smoking Musket umbrella. Do all that stuff. Smoking Musket. So, looking at other numbers, Evan Mayakawa, go to evanmaya.com. He has very good analytics, basketball information. He ranks all Division I players each season. In West Virginia's first transfer portal class, they picked up one guy ranked in Evan Maya's top 500 players from the 2024-2025 season. You want to guess who that guy was out of the crew? Sit down for this one. Jasper Floyd was the highest ranked player in Evan Maya's database as far as rankings of D1 players. So one guy in the top 500 in year 1 of the Ross Hodge era. Year 2, this transfer portal class has 3 guys from Evan's top 500. In order, Martin Somerville from Florida State, the highest ranked transfer based on Evan Maya's rankings. Then Javen Buchanan, and then Finley Bizjack. So going from one top 500 guy to 3, that is another step up. So all the numbies are going in a good direction. 14th highest ranked recruiting class from high school. I don't know the number of the transfer portal class, but on paper, getting it from the top 6 conferences. And here's the best part on the Evan Maya numbers. is that the 2025-2026 Mountaineers, who won the college basketball crown, they can never take the crown away from us. Every Mountaineer that played at least 500 possessions in year one of Ross Hodge at West Virginia made either a moderate jump or a substantial jump in their rankings year over year, coming to West Virginia and playing for Ross Hodge. So think about that. If the numbers are even better in year two, and then Ross Hodge are going to make those numbers even better, it's basically a Ponzi scheme, but in a good, like a good Ponzi scheme. You know what I mean? Very exciting. And yet they aren't going to play a game that counts for over 180 days. So we're going to get through this together. Let's breathe, will there be breathing in a brown paper bag? Who's to say? Am I nervous about higher expectations for WVU basketball? Yeah, but it's that good nervous. It's not a bad nervous. Yes, my preference is to fly under the radar and exceed expectations. But if you're going to be really good at basketball consistently, then you don't get to fly under the radar. And that if Ross Hodge is not flying under the radar, then that is good for the program. This is not rocket science, but it is exciting. And so now we just got to wait 180 days. But the podcast won't. Episodes all through the off season, getting more guests on, talking about Miles Sadler and other guys. Let's have fun. I am nervously intrigued by the moves that West Virginia has made through high school and through the transfer portal. That's it for this episode of Unreasonable Doubt. Listen on all the platforms or just choose one. Amazon Podcast, Overcast Podcast, Pocket Cast Podcast, Spotify Podcast, YouTube. Until next time, I'm Josh Witt. WVU for the 2026-2027 season. They have 0 wins and they have 0 losses.